Both stonewalling and the silent treatment can be extremely toxic in relationships, but there are key differences between the two, especially when it comes to intent. Now, stonewalling is referred to one of the 4 horsemen of the relationship apocalypse by Dr. John Gottman, and there's a reason for this. When a partner feels ignored and the other person is just shutting down, ignoring them, it's a very painful thing to go through, and it can definitely escalate situations and cause a breakdown of a relationship altogether. Stonewalling is something that avoidants tend to do more often, and this is because they are flooded. Their brain is overloaded. It gets to the point where they just shut down as a way to diffuse, as a way to self-soothe. They emotionally detach from the situation. They can get quiet and just seem like they're not present with you. And you try to get answers and you push, and this person just gives you nothing, maybe saying nothing altogether. And it can really feel like the silent treatment. The silent treatment, however, is a game. It's intentional. This is not a person that is overwhelmed. It's not a person that is flooded. This is a person that is being quiet, not talking to you, pretending you don't exist as a way to win the argument. It's about winning when it comes to the silent treatment. The silent treatment is something that narcissists often use in an argument because winning the argument is extremely important to a narcissist. One of the things that a narcissist always needs is to be in the position of power and control in any kind of relationship situation, especially when it comes to an argument. It's not necessarily about what's better for the relationship or how to solve and resolve an issue in a healthy way. With a narcissist, it is about winning and then maintaining that elevated position of power. And the silent treatment is actually considered to be a form of emotional abuse. When you are ignoring your partner, you're pretending they don't exist, ignoring calls, texts, or just completely outright ignoring them when they try to talk to you in person. That is very, very toxic, and it can be very hurtful to be on the receiving end of this. And people that don't understand what's happening will often cave to this behavior as a way to just try to make peace. Stonewalling can seem very, very similar. It can feel like this person's ignoring you. It's not a game when it's stonewalling, however, and the avoidant, well, they get overwhelmed. This is a person back in childhood that wasn't shown how to process emotions. They were not shown how to express their feelings, and they weren't shown how to handle emotional and relationship stress in a healthy way. When they tried to express themselves as a child, their feelings were routinely dismissed or outright rejected or even reprimanded. So the message was sent to the avoidant: your emotions, your feelings are not welcome here. So when all that stress builds up and their brain gets overloaded, they don't know how to release it. So they just shut down, they just withdraw. They almost feel paralyzed, like they can't speak, like they can't think. It's certainly not healthy, and it's not a healthy way to handle it. But it's not an intentional game. They're not trying to win the argument. They're trying to self-soothe. And the way that an avoidant has learned to self-soothe is to avoid a problem. Just not deal with it. Pretend it's not there, stick their head in the sand like an ostrich. It doesn't make it healthy, and it doesn't mean that if you are on the receiving end that you have to tolerate this behavior just because we understand that it's not coming from a place of intentional manipulation. It's still unhealthy, and if your partner is stonewalling you or giving you the silent treatment, it's a perfect opportunity to hold boundaries. Boundaries are your limits of what you will and will not tolerate, what you want, don't want, what you need, don't need. You can very clearly and kindly in an empathetic way put your boundaries out there. Hey, listen, I understand that this is a frustrating situation, but this doesn't work for me. I need communication, and if you need space, that's okay, but you need to tell me rather than just going quiet on me. And your enforcement of your boundaries is up to you, what you feel is appropriate. Enforcement can be as simple as just expressing yourself, or it could be taking space on your own end, or it could be walking away from the relationship. However, it is important to have and hold boundaries. Otherwise, you're sending yourself the message that you can't rely on yourself, that if things are difficult or stressful, or if you're being treated in a way that you don't deserve, you'd be telling yourself that you don't have your own back when you don't hold any boundaries. Holding boundaries isn't fun, it's not a recreational activity, but it is how you pull yourself into secure attachment, because when you do hold boundaries, you're sending yourself the message, as well as your partner, that this behavior isn't okay and that you are going to stand up for yourself when you're being mistreated. And ultimately, a selfish partner that is not emotionally invested in you is not going to respect your boundaries. They're not going to work to honor your boundaries. Chances are, they'll probably exit the relationship. But if this person was unwilling to even attempt to meet your boundaries, they were never going to meet them. And you've saved yourself time and emotional energy with a person that is not investing in you the way that you're investing in them. It's important to remember your own worth. Remind yourself of it 1,000 times a day if you need to, because the human mind learns in repetition. The more we repeat things to ourselves, the more it sticks in our brains. So tell yourself positive messages like you are worth being treated well. You are worth being with somebody who's emotionally available. And the more you tell yourself, the more you'll believe it, because you know what? It's true. You would never treat this person that way, and you don't deserve it either.